Hey guys, Andy back here with yet another painting tutorial. Today we're going to be painting up a member of one of the new kill teams. It's one of the new kill teams from the new kill team starter box, the Tau versus the Adepta Sororitas. And the miniature that I'm going to be painting up for you guys today is the new Novitiate. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I read it about 10 times and I'm still not sure whether I'm saying it correctly. But it's basically the new Adepta Sororitas or Sisters of Battle Scout unit. I didn't realize how intricate and amazing the kit was going to be until I was in the process of building it. And if you guys who managed to get your hands on the kit and have put the miniatures together will understand what I mean by that. Originally, I thought the miniatures were just going to have a bunch of wazzy gear, you know, big mace, and there's a duelist, and there's a medic, and there's a, you know, that kill team for it where there's lots of different specialists. And then on Warhammer Community, they'd also shown off the fact that you could have auto guns, which I thought was quite cool. Much more along the lines of the scout or the initiate member of the order. They're not going to be particularly well equipped or well armed, they're just in training. But whilst building the kit, I also realized that every single one of them could have a beautiful sword and an auto pistol, which I just think is a stunning option. I built my entire 10 lady squad up with those options. And they're going to go beautifully in with my Space Marines, my Imperial Fist, and my Black Templars, all, you know, sword brethren. And yeah, so I'm going to be painting up this particular miniature in the Order of the Bloody Rose. So she's going to have lots of black fatigues underneath, but then most of her extra details will be nice reds, her shroud and stuff like that. So yeah, stick around, enjoy the video. Okay, starting the video off in the traditional way with a black all over base coat. With spray can, and then we're going to zenithal it with grey Seer, and that's how we get the base sprays on the miniature. First thing we're going to go on to is Basilicanum Grey, and we're going to apply this to all of her undersuit. So it kind of looks like she's wearing like leggings and stuff like that, so it's going to go all over there, bits on her arms, her boots, any of those kind of details. Pretty much all the rest of the clothy material will be going to that nice luscious red to denote her as a member of the Order of the Bloody Rose. So there's the parts, the corset and the legs that we've gone to the Basilicanum Grey. Next we're going to move over to Flesh Tear's Red Contrast. And we're going to apply this to the rest of the cloth parts. This is one of my favourite contrast paints. Both of the reds are actually fantastic. They give amazing coverage in pretty much one coat. Take your time, don't hit any of the parts that you've already done in the greys, and you will do great. After the reds, we're going to move on to Black Templar. We're going to use this for her gloves and her boots, which I presume are nice high quality leathers. Black Templar, also another fantastic one. So versatile, great for like all tires, all leathers, all anything like that. It's a fantastic base coat for any of those. Once all those contrast parts are applied, it's time to move on to more traditional base coats. The first thing we're going to do is hit her leather belt with a Rhinox Hide. As you can see, she has across her hips a leather belt that holds one of her icons on it, and I think her pistol pouch is on it as well, and maybe an ammo pouch. So we're going to base coat all of those with the Rhinox Hide paint. From there we have Fyreslayer Flesh, and this is for the very small amount of skin that's showing on the miniature. As you can imagine, these are like holy orders. They are as close to nuns as you can get in the Warhammer 40k universe, and just like nuns, all you can see is their face. So a nice quick coat of Fyreslayer Flesh over the top of that, and yeah, she's good to go. So far so good. Next thing I'm going to do is hit all the silver details with Leadbelcher. So any of the parts around the gun, handle, clip, barrel, all those bits and pieces are going to get a base coat of Leadbelcher, plus her shoulder pauldrons. On any other miniatures that I do in Sister Battle range that are part of this range, their shoulder pads will of course be the red. But as these girls are novitiates, if I'm saying that correctly, the junior members of the order, I'd imagine they haven't earned the colored shoulder pads yet, so I'm going to stick with the plain silver like training gear. Just something I'm doing. I think it's a pretty good idea. And with all the silver applied. Last bit of base coating is going to be the Retributor Armour. And obviously these are members of the church, so you know how the church likes their bling, lots of gold. So find any icons and stuff on the miniature, the hilt of the sword, the icon hanging off her belt, the head crest thing, and just get that done up in golds. Right, that is all the base coats done on the miniature. So we're going to jump ahead and go for an all over base coat wash of Reikland Fleshshade. Reikland Fleshshade is a great one for the skin, the gold and the reds. It's not perfect for the greys and the blacks, but it does the job. Nothing you need to be concerned about with a miniature like this. Like, you got to remember, at the end of the day, this is an infantry miniature for your army. You can have a lot of these on the table. They're not character miniatures. We're not trying to do the best job we possibly can. That would take too much time for the amount of miniatures we have to paint. So an all-over wash of Reikland Fleshshade is more than good enough for me. As is tradition, while the miniature was drying from its shade, I based it up in my normal Martian scheme. The reason I'm doing most of my 40k miniatures in Martian scheme right now is I'm doing a generic Imperium army. So any of my Imperium forces are going to be based the same, so they match in larger games. So the next thing we're doing is going to highlight some of that gold up, and we've actually gone back to Leadbelcher for this, and we're just doing a few touch details. So a few dots, a few lines, nothing crazy. Same kind of technique that I got for the Black Templars that I did, and that worked out fantastically. Same idea, taking your time with the wing shoulder pad. It's one of the focal points of the miniature. Something people will be looking down on top of, so spend a little bit of time getting the highlighting on that done to a good standard. Cool, after that, we're going to move on and layer up the red. Once again, Mephiston Red is my red of choice for layering up, and like in many other videos, I've stuck with the air one. It just acts like a pre-thinned paint. It is perfectly acceptable to use most of the air range as brush paints. I just find them smoother and easier to apply. You might need 2 coats in some places, but I think that's worth it. So as you can see, this is giving pretty much fantastic coat in one go. And the key with this is to hit most of the fabric again, brightening up the entire miniature, but leaving that dark corn red, flesh tears red contrast shaded down in the recesses, just to give some definition to the cloth. And here's the red all layered up. She's starting to take shape now. Touch of Cadian Fleshtone for her face. I realized here that I hadn't prepared my Cadian Fleshtone on the palette before hitting record, so that's what I'm doing here, fumbling around with my hands. That pause there is me getting the paint ready. Apologies for wasting your time. So with this, you just need to be a little bit careful with the application, leaving the creases a little bit dark, but the round cheeks get highlighted, her chin, upper lip, nose, and her eyebrows. Like I said previously, this is a normal infantry miniature. She will be fighting along with 9 other of her sisters on the battlefield, so the detailed faces are not going to stand out a lot. We'll stick to canonesses for doing the extra details on any of those beautiful character models. I always think of myself as okay at doing faces, especially when I can't see the tops of their head. Bald heads do my head in, so this is just so easy. And with that, it's time for some Bloodreaver Flesh. I've started using this a couple of weeks ago as a layer paint for on top of Rhinox Hide for layering up belts, and I think it looks great. It's the one that I've also used on my Black Templar project, so if these two forces are fighting together, little key details like the golds being the same and the leathers being the same is really going to help them tight together. Now, all of this miniature is looking quite clean. Obviously, she's been trudging through the battlefield. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do a selective little cheeky dry brush of Ushabti Bone. That is the last highlight color for the bases that I did. As you can see, I put a touch of it on the base and then just a little bit on the edges of the cloth where it would be dirty from her kind of going through the battlefield. This adds just a little bit of sharp definition to the cloth without going in and trying to edge highlight it or add an extra layer. This takes a couple of seconds. As you can see, I just touch up a few parts with it. She doesn't have access to a washing machine at the end of every fighting shift, so she will get dirtier and dirtier the longer a campaign goes on. That's all I was trying to do, and I quite like the effect that it has. And to me, that brings a close to painting this miniature. I absolutely loved painting this miniature. I thought it was going to be more complicated than it was. It actually turned out to be quite a simple paint job. I am super excited to get the other 9 members of the squad together and have them side by side with my Black Templars fighting in a few games. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe for more great videos coming in the future. Give the video a like, and if you have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments below. I will get back to each and every one of you in turn. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.